Hello everyone, and thank you so very much for attending this particular training. My name is Peggy, and I am your sexual assault response coordinator. I have been doing this with the Air Force since 2005. I began with the Air Force, the inception of the Air Force program. So I am very proud to say that I have seen so many changes and innovations in our program that are absolutely fantastic and are meant to help our personnel. So I also thank you for being key spouses and for wanting to hold that position. We're going to talk about how you can help those who have been hurt by this crime, specifically because you are those trusted people that others will come to when they need help. All right? We're actually going to talk just about three things. One is going to be sexual harassment and sexual assault and how those two are connected. And then we're going to talk about the reporting options that everyone has with the SAPR program. And last, we're going to talk about resources. How can all of us help those who need that particular help, assistance in moving forward? Before I get started with that, I would like to make a disclaimer. This training, this conversation is about sexual assault. And although it's a video format, it might trigger some unwanted thoughts or feelings for some of you. And if that happens, please, I'm going to ask you, please take care of yourself. Stop the video, take a break, take a deep breath, walk around, do whatever it takes to take care of yourself, and then come back, restart, continue the training. If, however, you feel that you cannot go through this at all, I am going to ask that you get in touch with either myself or Christine Siona, who is our SAPR victim advocate, and we will help you to find an alternative for completing this training. We will help you to address any of the issues that you have, any of the concerns you have, any questions that you have specifically about sexual assault and about how to help others. Okay? I'm going to ask that of you. So right off the bat, take care of yourself. All right? Thank you so very much. So, let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is sexual harassment, and I'll tell you why. Because as human beings, one of the things that we know is that human beings don't start off doing something bad right off the bat. We as human beings graduate our behaviors. This particular topic is no different, absolutely no different. So what we've recognized through research is that usually it will start with sexual harassment. So what's sexual harassment? Sexual harassment are words, gestures, behaviors, actions, pictures, jokes, any of those things that are sexual in nature, that are inappropriate, unwanted, and absolutely positively not needed, especially in the workplace. So, sexual harassment might be an inappropriate joke that someone tells around you or in the workplace, and it's not wanted. It is absolutely not wanted. We need to recognize it as inappropriate behavior and hopefully be able to address it. All right? But sexual harassment can go forward if it's not addressed, if it's not challenged then what's going to happen is, let's take me. We're going to use me as an example, Peggy. Peggy walks into an office and I say something inappropriate about another person's body. And I get away with it. In fact, there's a few people around me who laugh, who think it's funny. And I'm telling myself, hey, this is pretty cool, all right? I get people to laugh, and I'm going to see what else I can get away with. So the next time, I might tell an inappropriate joke, and maybe the next time I might touch someone, even though it may not be sexual in nature, I might touch them just to see if I can get away with it. And if I do, then I'm going to continue. So sexual harassment has the possibility of continuing until the behavior becomes touching in a sexual manner that is inappropriate and unwanted, and that is called sexual assault. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there is no such thing as an equal line between sexual harassment and sexual assault. There's no equal line there. If I sexually harass someone, it does not mean that I am going to sexually assault them. No, I'm not saying there's an equal line. What I am saying is that there is a possibility of graduation. So sexual harassment can continue until it reaches the point of sexual assault. That is why we need to be aware of it, because we know that it happens. It can happen. So I'm asking you to be aware of the smaller end of the continuum, and that is sexual harassment. Let's stop it right there, because if we stop it at the harassment portion, there's a good chance it will not proceed to sexual assault. So please, please be aware of that. What I'd also like to have you know is that it is our Equal Opportunity Office that handles sexual harassment. It is the Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Office that handles sexual assault. And as you might imagine, we absolutely work together. The EO office and the Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Office work together. So let me give you a little example. Someone will go to the EO office and say to the EO personnel, I am being sexually harassed. They will ask questions, and one of the questions they will ask is, were you touched? And if that person says, yes, I was touched, EO will say, let's stop this. I would like you to go to the SAPR office and speak with them first. And we'll explain why in a little bit. But that person's going to come to the SAPR office, and we at the SAPR office will ask them, how were you touched? If that touch was sexual in nature and it meets the SAPR definition, then we will maintain that case. They will not return to the EO office. And in this way, we can help them maintain their options for reporting. If it doesn't meet the SAPR definition for touch, then we will tell them, yes, this is sexual harassment. Please go back to see the EO office to file your harassment case. And that's why our two offices work so closely together. We have to, so that we can help people to understand how they've been harmed and what we can do. And not only that, we absolutely want to stop it at the lower end of the spectrum. Okay? Let's talk about reporting options. Now, I know you've all heard that there are 2 reporting options, but in actuality, there are 3. And we're going to talk about all 3 of those. The first reporting option, restricted. The second is unrestricted. And the third is what we call an independent or a third-party report. So let's talk about restricted. Restricted is exactly what that word says. The people who know about this, it's absolutely restricted. It is limited. And the only ones who are going to know about this case are those at the SAPR office. That is it. No commanders, no supervisors, no first sergeants, no co-workers. No one will be aware that our client has opened up a case. It is restricted. There's also no investigation. Absolutely none. Because the commander's not involved, investigators are not involved, JAG is not involved. No investigation with restricted. And the restricted is open to all military personnel. It is available to spouses of military personnel. It is available to dependents of military personnel who are 18 years and older. So it is available to almost everyone with whom we work. There is a caveat. In order to get a restricted report, there are only a handful of people to whom this individual can report. They can report to the SARC, to the SAPR victim advocate, to a volunteer victim advocate. They can report to the chaplain. They can report to medical personnel, including any doctors, nurses, or attendees at the hospital, as well as mental health. So it has to be only those personnel. Please remind people not to report to commanders, first certs, co-workers, anyone that in which it would take away that option. Okay? That's restricted. Unrestricted, the opposite, means that number one, there will be an investigation. Absolutely positively will be an investigation. I am obligated to notify commanders, and I am obligated to notify investigators. For us on Buckley, that's the OSI, Office of Special Investigation. So we will notify commanders, we will notify the investigators. There will be an investigation with an unrestricted report. And this is very important. For an unrestricted report, obviously because there's an investigation and the commander knows, this can be done through anyone, absolutely anyone. As a matter of fact, it can be done through you because you are key spouses. So someone can come to you and say, I need help. I need to report a sexual assault. And I would like there to be an investigation. And you will say to them, I know exactly who to go to, because you, once you know they want an investigation, you can go through the commander, you can go through the first sergeant, or you can go through the SAPR office. Okay? Big difference between those two. Please, please keep in mind. They are very different. They have different consequences. Restricted, no investigation. Unrestricted, there will be an investigation. There will be command notification. Okay? Our last one is what we call an independent or third-party report. This is made when a third party, a person who is not involved with the incident whatsoever, but knows about a sexual assault, will actually go to their supervisor or commander or first sergeant, or come to us and say, I know that this happened. I know there was a sexual assault. Here is the information that I have. Now, they're not involved with the sexual assault, but they know about it. And their conscience has told them, I need to report this. I need to report this. And so they do. Once they report it, there will be an investigation. So this third party, in essence, could go to their commander and say, ma'am, sir, I know of a sexual assault. Here is the information that I know. The commander has heard 2 words, sexual assault. The commander is mandated to make 2 phone calls, one to the SAPR office, one to the OSI office. There is no ifs, ands, buts about it, and the commander has no option. Once a commander hears 2 words, sexual assault, a commander will make 2 phone calls, the SAPR office and the OSI office. Okay? So I'm going to try and tie all of this together for you. I'm going to do a scenario. And in this scenario, Peggy, I am going to be the survivor. You are going to be the one that I come to. So put yourself in the shoes of a helper, of a key spouse that I am going to because I know you, you're my friend, and I trust you. And in this scenario, Christine Sayona, who is our Buckley Air Force Base Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Victim Advocate, she's our full-time victim advocate, she is going to be in her own role as victim advocate. Okay? You ready? All right. I was out a week ago, and I was out with some friends who are members of our unit, our squadron, and we were having a really good time. And one of the members who's in our unit was extremely aggressive with me. And I asked them to back off. I asked them to leave me alone. And they did. They did. So I continued drinking. I was having a great time. But at the end of the evening, I realized there was no way that I could drive. And this member of our unit, who was aggressive previously but stopped, offered me a ride home. And I felt comfortable at this point accepting that ride home because they paid attention to what I wanted. They stopped being aggressive, stopped giving me a hard time, was really nice, and seemed concerned about my well-being. Well, at the end of the evening, this person said, hey, let me give you a ride home because you can't drive. I'm okay. I'll drop you off at home. Sometime tomorrow, you can get in touch with someone else and you can come back and get your car. All right, that sounded good to me. That sounded absolutely fantastic. So I accepted the ride from this individual, got to my place. This individual got out of the car, helped me to the door, helped me unlock the door and get inside. I assumed that once inside that the individual would leave, and they didn't. And they did something to me that I don't even know how to put it. I don't know what to say. I'm not even sure of what happened. But it wasn't right. And I know I didn't ask for it. I couldn't fight back, and I don't know what to do. So please, is there anything I can do? Is there anything that you can tell me to do to help me? Now, as that person's friend, you, as the key spouse, you're thinking, hopefully, you are thinking, I know who you can go to. I know who you can talk to. So you tell me, Peggy, let's go to the SAPR office. Let's go talk to Christine. Let's talk about what you can do. Please know that when you talk to Christine, your conversation is confidential. When you talk to Christine, you can tell her whatever you want to tell her. When you talk to Christine, you do not have to open a SAPR case, but this is an opportunity for you to get information about what to do next. And me, Peggy, I think, okay, there's someone I can talk to. Thank you. Can you go with me? And you say, absolutely, positively, I will go with you. So the two of us go to the SAPR office. You take me to the SAPR office, sit down, and I talk to Christine. I explained to Christine what happened. I explained to her my concern. I explained to her my questions. I explained that, hey, I don't know what happened. I also explained to her that, hey, my partner, my spouse is military, and my military spouse is right now TDY. And I don't want anyone to know about this. I don't want anyone to know what happened because even I'm not sure. And Christine says, don't worry, Peggy. We have you. We will support you. What you can do is open a restricted report. This way, you have the opportunity to take a deep breath, and if you decide that you want to go unrestricted, if you want an investigation later, you can do so. So I accept that. I take a restricted report. I do the paperwork, and my report is restricted. And I understand that no one gets to know, not the commander, not anyone. It is just me. Now, what about you? You know about it. You're the one who helped me. You came with me to the SAPR office. Well, Christine is going to talk to you as well. And Christine is going to ask you, can you keep Peggy's secret? And you look at Christine and you say, yes, I can keep Peggy's secret. And the reason that you have that opportunity is because you're not in my chain of command, you're my friend, and you are not obligated to tell anyone. You're not obligated to tell anyone. So you are keeping my secret, and I have a restricted report. Okay? Now, about a week later, you as a key spouse, you hear about another sexual assault, and you also hear that it's the same offender that hurt me. And now you know that there have been 2 assaults, and it's the same offender. And in your mind, your conscience is saying, how do I handle this? I know of 2 assaults, and it's the same offender, and this offender is in my unit. That offender is in your unit. And your conscience is saying to you, I can't do this. I cannot keep this secret because this offender is continuing their behavior. And so you go and you talk to Christine. and you tell Christine, Christine, I just heard about another assault, and it's the same offender, and I don't know what to do. This is the second time I've heard about a sexual assault, and it's the same offender. Christine is going to tell you, please follow your conscience. Please follow your conscience. And if your conscience tells you that you need to report this, by all means, report it. And so you follow your conscience because you don't want this to happen again. So you make an appointment with the commander and you tell the commander, I know of 2 sexual assaults that have occurred and they involve this one person. So now we have an independent or a third-party report because you have gone to the commander and told them about the incidents you know of in which a sexual assault occurred. So the commander makes 2 phone calls, one to the SAPR office, one to the OSI. Commander has told Christine what's happened. OSI is calling Christine and saying, hey, Christine, we know of a case. Do you know anything? And Christine says, I don't have anything. What do you have? Give me the information and I will make sure that I get in touch with the personnel who are involved. So Christine then calls me and Christine says, Peggy, there's been an independent report and your case has been turned over to the OSI and there will be an investigation. Peggy, you have 2 choices. You can keep your restricted report. No one will ever know. They will not get information from me. On the other hand, please know that if you don't go unrestricted, you won't have an opportunity to tell your side of the story. And OSI will only get one side, and that will be the side of the offender, but not yours. So please think about it. And I do think about it. And I think, hey, this person that hurt me is going to get away with it because they won't hear what happened to me from my side. They won't hear that. So I make a decision. I am making a decision to change my case from restricted to unrestricted. I go into the office with Christine and I sign my form that says I am changing to unrestricted and I know there's going to be an investigation. I know the commander will be notified and I know that OSI will be notified and there will be an investigation. But it's my choice. It is Peggy's choice. And I want that investigation now because I don't want the story to be one-sided. So as you see, we've just gone through a scenario and we've looked at all 3 of the reporting options: restricted, unrestricted, and independent. And how you, as a key spouse, can be involved in either of them, in all 3 of them. But the most important thing is that as a friend, as someone that is trusted, you know where to go, and that's to the SAPR office. And that leads us to our resources. So our last part, what are the resources? What's out there for people? Well, obviously you got me. You have Christine and Peggy at the SAPR offices. You also know, and if you don't know, you are about to know that we are 24/7, 365, all year, every single day. We're here. We can be reached 24/7, 365 for no matter what you need, no matter what the issue is, no matter what the question is. Okay? So we're the number one. We are number one resource. But there are other resources as well, especially when it comes to the types of cases. So an unrestricted case has some fantastic resources. When a case is unrestricted, when the commander knows about it, then that person can also get what we call an expedited transfer. That even extends to spouses, and it extends to the dependents who are 18 and over. In other words, family members. It's a special circumstance, it's a special situation, but we apply for it the same as we would apply for a military, an active duty person. Okay? And it has to do with being a family member. Expedited transfer means it's an opportunity for the family to move installations, to go from Buckley to another installation where they have support and where the military member can continue to do their job, right? There's also military protective orders, which apply for on the installation. And with the military protective order, we can apply for a civilian protective order. So it can be either one, a military and or a civilian protective order. Now, whether you have a restricted case or an unrestricted case, we have what we call a special victims counsel. Now, this is a lawyer specifically for the survivor. It's not for the offender, it's not for the military. That lawyer is for the survivor, and it's called a special victims counsel. Now, if the client qualifies, this lawyer will be there for them to help them through the judicial process, to answer questions for them. Okay? The other thing is a victim advocate. Every client that we have has the opportunity to have a victim advocate that is there for them. Victim advocates are confidential. They have confidentiality, which means they don't share the information that they get. A victim advocate is there 24/7 for them. The victim advocate can escort them if they have to see JAG or investigators, civilian police. It doesn't matter. The victim advocate can be there for them. And every client has the opportunity to have a victim advocate. The best thing about Buckley is that Buckley Air Force Base has victim advocates from every single branch of the military, including the Coast Guard. It is so cool. We have victim advocates from all 5 SEALs, which is absolutely fantastic. And as far as a survivor is concerned, the survivor chooses. If the survivor says, I want a civilian, that's fine. If the survivor says, I would like a male victim advocate, we've got male victim advocates. If the survivor says, I want a female victim advocate from the Coast Guard because I'm Army and I don't want anything to do with the Army, guess what? We can accommodate. We will find any way that we can to accommodate what that survivor needs. Please, please keep that in mind. I also want you to know that our SAPR office covers the Northern Front Range. So in actuality, we help anyone who's affiliated with the military, anyone whatsoever. So we help ROTC students, AFIT students, recruiters, Guard, reservists, active duty, retired. It doesn't matter. If you're affiliated with the military, we absolutely are here for you and for everyone. Okay, please keep that in mind. The most important thing to keep in mind, please, is we're here. We are here for you, for anyone who needs our assistance. And so I'd like to close. I'd like to close with two things. One has to do with you, and one has to do with us. For you, if you see someone in trouble, please ask them if they need help. Be that person that's concerned about them, what they're going through. Ask them if you can help. And if they say, yes, please help me, then do something. Act. Call someone. Reach out to someone. Reach out to one of our helping agencies on the base. Reach out to the chaplain. Reach out to mental health. Reach out to the SAPR office. Reach out to the first sergeant. Reach out to your commander. Reach out. And let us give you the information that can help them. The last is intervene. You know, human beings they just want someone to be there, to believe them, to be a shoulder that they can lean on, to literally listen. So listen, intervene on their behalf. Please. The last has to do with the SAPR office, with Christine and I. And that's how to get in touch with us. Any of you who has our swag, you know our numbers are everywhere. But I'd like you to write this down, please. What I'd like you to do, really, is put it in your phone. And this is the 24/7 Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Helpline. And that number is 720-847-SARC. 720-847-7272. Please put that in your phone. And know that we will be there no matter what, whenever you need help. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And just remember that you are not alone.